Hi, second and third graders. Welcome back to art class. So we are going to figure out how to use our pencils today to make them look, to get them to look more realistic in our coloring and drawing. And I tell you a lot of times, draw light until you know it's right. And so by doing these worksheets that we're gonna do today, hopefully you'll be able to figure out that light and dark and sketching versus drawing really, really hard on your paper. So if you have a printer, I would love it if you could print off this paper. If you don't have a printer, we only need half of this sheet. So I need you to take a blank piece of paper and draw what you see on your computer onto a blank piece of paper with like a pen, or a pencil is fine too. Yeah, we're gonna use our light source, we're gonna use our pencils, and a piece of paper. That's all you're gonna need for this time. Here we go.
All right, so we are going to start with box number 8. And I want you to use your pencil close to the tip of your pencil, and you are going to press as hard as possible. It's okay to get out of the lines on this one. So we're gonna go back and forth, back and forth. And you have to go this up and down. Don't want you to go side to side. It's really hard to use your pencil when you're gradually getting light to dark if you are going this way. It's impossible. So when you're done with number 8, it should be shiny. If you put your finger on top of it, you probably will get some lead. I am using a pencil that was left in my classroom from the Miles of Smiles bus. So I'm not using any special pencils. So whatever you have is whatever you have at home is a-okay. So number 8 is as hard as possible, no paper showing through, shiny, which I'm not sure if you can tell it's shiny or not. Yeah, you can. Hard as possible. Number 1, I'm gonna hold my pencil way back by the eraser. Have you ever tried that trick where, I don't know if you can do it side to side, but you can do it up and down, and it makes your pencil look like it's getting wiggly like a wet noodle. That's where I want you to hold your pencil. I want it to be really, really hard. Remember I talked about that pressing really, really hard makes an indent. That's what we did for number 8. But if you press really, really softly, then it tickles, and we want that little tickle line for number 1. We are going to draw this number 1 so light that you can barely see it. A little whisper right here, a little tickle line. I have a little oil pastel on my paper, but you probably can barely even see what I did. Okay, the lighter you can get number 1, the better that this value scale will be. So now we're going to skip back over to number 7, and I'm going to go just a tiny bit lighter. So it's almost as dark as number 8, but it's not as shiny. There's not as much pencil getting down on the paper. Still holding my pencil at the tip, or going back to holding the pencil at the tip. And so you should be able to see a little bit of difference between the two, but not very much. Then I want you to go back to number 2, hold your pencil back far again, and we're going to do the same thing we did in number 1 on number 2, but this time I want to get a little bit darker. Okay, just a tiny bit. So if you can barely see number 1, you can see number 2 a little bit darker. Not sure if you can see it again on my camera or not. Are you dizzy yet? Okay, now holding my pencil normal, going back to number 6, trying to get number 6 just a hair lighter than number 7. If there's a big difference between 6 and 7, then you're going to have a hard time filling in 5, 4, and 3. Okay, now I'm not going to hold it back all the way to the eraser, but I still want to press really lightly on my pencil. So we are doing this almost as dark as number 2, or almost as light as number 2, but a little bit darker. And notice that I don't do it all at once. I go back and forth, back and forth. So number 5 is a little lighter than number 6. Holding my pencil a little bit away from the lead so you don't accidentally press down too hard. It's easier to put more lead on the pencil than it is on the paper than it is to take it away. So then I am at number 4. Trying to magically get it between number 3 and 5. And if they look all the same, then I need to add a little bit more here, and maybe a little bit more on number 6. So I'm just going to go back and fix the boxes that are not in order. Okay? Then I want you to flip your paper over. So number 1, you are going to do the boxes. Number order 8, 1, 7, 2, 6, 3, 5, and 4. Okay, number 2, we're gonna go to the back of the paper, and we're gonna do, this is called a value scale, we're gonna do a gradation scale. Okay, that means we're going to gradually go from dark to light. So I am going to go here and do that number 8, press really, really, really hard, then get a little lighter. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, a lot of my students get skinnier and skinnier as it goes down. That is not necessarily what we're doing. We want this to gradually go from an 8 to a 1. Okay, and I want you to practice that as much as possible until you actually figure it out. The more you practice, the better you will get at your projects. Okay, when you have this whole back kind of filled in, you're probably going to want to put a piece of paper or something underneath you, because now all this lead on the back, when we do other projects, it will then, or when we color in the rest of our shapes, it might get on your table. So 3 is going to be the circle, and then the square, actually we are not doing the circle first. We're going to do the square first, because that's actually the easiest one to shape. We're going to shade the circle last. So square, rectangle, cube, and then the circle. Okay, so this is our light source. What that means is that is where the light is coming from. So by my light source, by my light bulb, that is going to be the lightest over here. The darkest is going to be over here. So I have a little speaker over here. My light source is coming from the top. That is where my lights are above my island here. So this is the lightest. Over here is the lightest, and this is the darkest over here. So we're gonna try and figure out how to get these shapes to pop out like a cylinder instead of like a flat circle. So right now that circle is really flat. So going from our light source, looking at it, if I put an arrow from the light source, the lightest, the first wall of our square it hits is this side. So this is gonna be like a number 1. So this time I'm gonna have to stay inside the lines. You wanna color this about a number 1 or a 2. Okay, the next side is going to be, since it's more towards the top, we're gonna make this up here the next one we're gonna hit. So this is gonna be a 3, 4, 5-ish. And I'm gonna go a little darker away from the light. And then as I get closer, I'm gonna get a little lighter. So maybe a 5 on the back side over here, and then getting a little lighter over here. Okay, and then this is going to be our 8, 7, 6 because this is farthest away. So I'm trying to stay inside the lines. So that's why I go around the edges so I don't get outside the lines, but I have to go up and down on this one because I want it to gradually get a little bit lighter again. And if I get it too dark, I won't be able to erase it very much. But if it gets out of the lines, I'm not going to be able to erase outside of the lines either. So that's why I went along those edges a little bit. So then this box will hopefully pop a little bit. So this is like a 5 over here and a 3. This is like 8 over here to like a 6. Okay. I'm an art teacher. I went to art school. Okay. So this takes a lot of practice. I've been teaching for, this is my 18th year. So I've been doing these a long time. So don't get frustrated. Use the whole sheet of paper if you printed it off. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Okay. So next is our rectangle, and we're going to do the same thing. So pretending like that circle is not even there, this is going to be the lightest over here. So I am around the edges. Then in the middle. And again, I want this. 3, 2 to 1. Trying to stay inside the lines again. Okay, and then the next one we hit is down here. Like 5, 4, 3 going on here. Trying to stay in the lines. A little darker than that front one. And then this is an 8 because it can't see the light at all. The rectangle is in its way. Okay, now the light source is coming from this direction, so this is going to be a 1 over here and an 8 over here. So we have to go up and down when we color and go this way. So I guess I color side to side, but I go 8 over here, so nice and shiny over there, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So hopefully it looks like it pops out a little bit again. And then back here, just gonna play with this a little bit. Kind of going in a circular type shape. This back here is gonna be the darkest, just like it is over here. But it's really hard to color with a pencil. Rounded, getting lighter rounded, so. Lighter over there, darker over here. Okay, and then this one's harder because we don't have those sides. So coming from the light source, it is gonna be lightest over here. So I'm gonna do like a number 1 circle over here. And if this line actually went through, it is gonna be darkest back here. Okay, so just like up here, I need to figure out how to use my pencil to color around where the circle is. That's going to be the lightest. Okay, once you are done with this worksheet, that is what I have for you for this project. I want you, if you have colored pencils, I want you to try on a piece of paper and just play with pencil pressure with your colored pencils. And then I also want you to do it with crayons. If you have crayons, just try to get shadows with different materials. Okay. If you do get too dark, then you can erase a little bit. I used my finger to go back and smudge those a little bit so it's a little more gradual. If you don't want to get that messy, you don't have to. There's blending tools out there if drawing and shading is something you want to do a lot of, but you don't like to get messy, like this little finger here. Then you could get a blending tool. So good luck, have fun. We are going to use color pencils or crayons for our next project. So once you're done with this worksheet and your pencil, I want you to play around with your color pencils to get a little bit better at those as well. Have fun.